Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
So in Canada here, we have the liberals and the conservatives, right? That's what we call them, liberals and conservatives, right? In Britain, they have, I can't remember what they call them over there in Britain, but it's all Western countries. They have this left-right paradigm under democracy. And they call the darker skinned people, what do they call them? They call them what in the countries? They call them minorities, right?
Yeah.
Our black people are only minorities in the West.
Facts.
When it comes to the world population, they ain't no, we are not the minority. This is the whole point of democracy, to keep you in a position of subservience to this group. You understand? Daniel Hakikachu has taken this very hard right turn to the forward racist element of this system. That's all he's done. And he's calling it Islamic because the liberals, you know, the liberals, again, they're a part of that same system. Right? But what is the liberal methodology? The liberal methodology is delusion, like to delusion through inclusion. So you're going to dilute the power by including everybody and making them think that they have some power. You get it? So they're your integrationist. Okay, they're your civil rights movement. You're not going to ask for economic wealth. You're going to ask for civil rights now. You get it?
Yeah.
You know, and the power is in owning land and economics and these type of things, right? Not civil rights, not appealing to the morality of your enemy. Your enemies don't have morals. These are the most godless people in the history of humankind. No matter how much they talk about they love God. And here come Daniel Hakikachu, you know, talking about as long as they're not liberal Muslims. When in the history of Islam has any alim ever said anything like that? Ever?
Nobody ever said that. He's the innovator of this whole entire methodology.
Thank you. And mind you, he started. How did he start? Who gave him a platform first? Do you know who gave him a platform?
Abu Zayd acted like he was his agent.
Way before Abu Zayd.
Way before Abu Zayd. Hijab.
Way before hijab.
Way before. You got me.
The Yaqeen
Institute. Yeah. But see, he claims. But see that shows. What about so he turned against the Yaqeen Institute, saying that they were liberal, saying that they were liberal, but he got to start with them. Yes.
Why? Well, why? Because he was a graduate out of Harvard. See how they use these intellectuals, bro. And Harvard is well known to produce spooks. It's well known. They produce the most spooks and infiltrators and all, like from the FBI to CIA, you name it.
Oh, definitely. When do you see a Muslim come out of Harvard or any of these these sort of universities, these top tier universities, and they're firmly upon the Quran and Sunnah? When do you see that?
Well,
when do you see them?
He's the only one ever to say that I found Islam in Harvard University. And he made an entire video about that. He's the only person ever. How I found Islam in Harvard.
Wow.
But nobody asking these questions, right? And after his stint at Yaqeen, right? Who propped him up?
After Yaqeen? Well, I'm going to go with the Sajid. Well,
for years. And because of Sajid, he got connections with all these Salafi platforms. Even Ibn Hussein.
Subhanallah.
You know,
Subhanallah. Just think about that. How a Harvard grad leaking up with Medina students and being promoted.
Yeah, but the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, or I can even say it's beyond ridiculous. It's more like treacherous. The most treacherous thing I've ever seen in the Salafi Dawah was when you mentioned Kareem Abu Zayd put him on. He platformed him in front of scholars, and look how that blew up. Look how that blew up.
It was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I've never seen anything in all my years of being Muslim.
But it was a disaster of his own. It was a disaster of their own creation. What did they think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen?
And on top of that, Sheikh Uthman bin Farouk largely not only participated but censored people from criticizing Daniel. Censored them.
Wow.
Daniel Hakikachu. Now what are you gonna say? I want to see what you're gonna say about this. What's it say? Tyree.
You know what I was just thinking? That is as much as we criticize Salafi publications, they never would have did anything like that.
No, not even. No, that's one thing we gotta give them credit for.
Or Troy.
They would have never, ever, not in a million years, never. But you would not expect a Salafi to do that, anyways. Regardless, you know what I mean. You would not expect a Salafi, a self-respecting Salafi, to do something like that, which says to me that again there is a sharp right turn happening in the Dawah.
Well, yes.
You know what I mean?
Daniel is the Pied Piper, and they're all dancing to his music.
Exactly. Now all these other du'ats and YouTube channels are feeling very comfortable, right? And espousing their alt-right views.
Plus another thing is, I think pointed out in the beginning of the show, he's shown the path to numbers.
Yeah.
He's shown the path to subscriptions and video views.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So now anybody, any old, ignoramus, right? You don't have to have Islamic training anymore. You have to have social media training to make dawah.
I did a survey on my platform, and I knew that DQ's fans would reply about his recent debate with Destiny. And remember what I said a couple like a month or two ago about that the gamer aspect of all this, that tapping into the gamer crowd, because that's a big amount of viewers on YouTube are gamers. So now he does a debate with Destiny of all people, he's tapping into that space. So I put a survey saying, what do you think that what does this have to do with Islam? What does having a debate with Destiny about whether Andrew Tate is guilty or not? What does this have anything to do with Islam? Do you think this has something to do with? And there were some people, of course, that said yes. I knew they would say yes. And I'm asking them, like, okay, I'm all ears. Give me something from the Quran and the Sunnah that justifies doing something like this. Where do you? Okay, brothers giving general type answers like, we should support the Muslims. Okay, I'm good. I'm supporting Daniel Tate. I'm not going to throw Daniel Tate under the bus. But I'm not going to get. I'm sorry. Yeah, Andrew Tate. I'm blending them together now. Andrew Tate. I'm not going to get in public and say Andrew Tate didn't do it. On what? I can't. On what basis would I make a proclamation that he's absolutely innocent? He couldn't have possibly and do arguments and debates about how he couldn't have done it. That's just it's just sensationalism. It's pure sensationalism. And it has nothing to do with Dawah, and it has nothing to do with Islam. It has nothing to do with the deen. So the people who are following this guy, you're not learning your religion. You're not learning anything that benefits you or benefits anyone else. You're just being entertained. And what are you being entertained? You're too chicken to go and just come out and go absorb that alt-right red pill content directly, because you want to be a little bit of Islamic. You don't want to be, you want to be able to tell people what you're looking at and what you're watching. So now you're getting this this off-brand Islamic front for alt-right red pill content, with a kufi on top of it.
All right, so I want to deal with this question here from the comments here. So I'm not sure if it's a brother or sister, but Aussie 12. I only bring up Muhammad Hijab because it was him who introduced me to the features. Don't like the H at all. Okay, looky here. Okay, when it comes to YouTube and the YouTubian Da'i elites, I want to make something very, very clear. Okay, I do not have any unconditional allegiances with anybody. Period. YouTube is a social media platform. These guys, they make a living off of YouTube. My living isn't off of YouTube, okay? I am here talking to the black grassroots on black issues. When Daniel Hakikachu did that interview with, what's his face?
Daniel.
Jordan Peterson.
Destiny.
When he did that interview with Jordan Peterson, and he said that most outlandish statement.
Reparations.
Let me pull it out. I want y'all to listen well.
What? But why, again, how are you making these happen? Why are you talking about?
But, we can say things like, well, the West is not bearing sufficient responsibility for its colonial past. And so at some level, that kind of devolves down to the individual. It's
So
like,
let me kind of rephrase it then. I think that's more of a left-wing criticism. It's like, there's reparations and affirmative action programs. All that. I'm not advocating any of that, and nor do I even believe in any of that, to be honest with you.
Nor me.
Yeah. So what I was
Nor me.
Yeah, when he
Nor
said
me.
that, the first thing I did was contact him. I contacted him directly, and I said, "What is this? What are you doing?" I asked him, and I told him I'm going to make a response to this, and it's not going to be pretty. I told him that directly before I made my response. So don't go and say, "Oh, you're just talking behind me." No, anybody can contact me directly. I talked to Wajdi first, okay? I talked to Sajid. I talk to these guys behind the scenes first. I give them a chance first. But the reason why they are not threatened by the Black grassroots, why? Because we only have 1,600 subs on our channel.
Paper gold. You see, black folks are chumps. If America were to tell you to bring all the rocks in this country to her, and she'll give you $1 million for it, you'll do it. And the next day she'll tell you we're using rocks for currencies, chump.